Today I'm making something different, which you can either use as a side dish or make a sandwich, which is what I'll be doing today. I'll be making some eggplant and zucchini in breadcrumbs in a sandwich. I've just sliced an eggplant, and I'm doing the same with the zucchini. You can see that I'm slicing them in approximately 1 centimeter, and I'm actually going diagonally so that they are a little bit bigger. I don't tend to normally salt my eggplants or my zucchini before I cook them, because they no longer have the bitterness that they used to have in the old days. Lots of people, they still do that because they believe that they're bitter, but that's not the case anymore, as they are seedless. But I will be salting them today, and the reason why that is because I want to extract as much water as possible from them. So I just applied a teaspoon of salt combined, and I'll mix them, and I'll leave them to rest now for a good 15 minutes, and some of the water will come out. In the meantime, I will prepare my breadcrumb mix. These are dry breadcrumbs, which I make myself. I buy some fresh bread often when it's on offer, and I leave it to dry, and then I whisk it with my food processor, and I place it inside an old chocolate tin. This is in plastic. I drill a few holes in the lid so that they breathe and they do not go moldy, and they last forever. Really, really good. So here is another glass bowl, and I'll add some breadcrumbs to it. Approximately 50 to 60 grams. This is oregano. I'm putting in the equivalent of 1 teaspoon. If you've got children and you're making this for children, they absolutely love it because it reminds them a little bit of a pizza. This is something which my mum used to make for us when we were little, and often used to be a Saturday evening meal treat, and especially if you make a sandwich, and delicious. And also you do not have to do the combination of zucchini and eggplant. You can do one or the other, but together they're really, really nice. I'm now crushing one large size clove of garlic, and I'm using a garlic crusher as I want the flavor to spread across all of my breadcrumbs. Cheese next, and I'm using some Parmigiano, of course, and I'll be grating approximately 30 grams. I'm not going to add any salt, as the eggplants and the zucchini will be salty, but I will add a little pepper. When these are done, I'll give them a quick mix, and all I've got to do is wait for my zucchini and eggplants now. And here they are, look. Ensure that you put a cover or a plate on top so that they don't go too dark, especially the eggplants. And I'm going to show you, if you see, they've actually released a lot of water, and I'll move closer to the camera so that hopefully you'll be able to see what I mean. If I press them, you can most probably see some of the water and the liquid still draining. So I'll do that on each eggplant, and then I'll go and rinse them, and I'll show you what I'll do next to ensure that they're dry before we mix them together. And here they are, they're still wet, but I wanted to show you the amount of water which has been released. So quite a lot, considering that it's only one eggplant and one zucchini. I'll just get rid of this. Okay, here is a clean cloth, and I'm going to move my eggplants on top of it, one by one. I'm laying them flat so that as much water as possible can be absorbed, including the zucchini, of course. This is kitchen paper, and I'm going to be tapping them on the top so that I will extract as much water and moisture as possible. And it's quite remarkable, as my kitchen paper is literally saturated, so I'll get some more and I'll carry on. And I'm turning them around to ensure that they can be as dry as they can possibly be. It is an important step in this recipe because I will be adding some oil in a little while, and I want them to absorb a little bit more oil than water. So take a little time now and you will have a great result. I mentioned oil. This is olive oil, so I will be adding about a couple of the spoons. A couple of eggs, as they are, they can go in. Slips up, and I mix everything together, ensuring that the egg and the oil marinates the entire surface of every piece of eggplant and zucchini. So do take a little time in doing this, because the most important part of this recipe, beside everything trying to be as dry as possible, is to ensure that every piece of eggplant and zucchini is literally covered in egg and olive oil. So I've mixed it for about 40 seconds, and here is my breadcrumb mixed, and I'll add it in. And my last ingredient is going to be some chopped parsley, which I keep in the freezer. always available. Again, I've done another video, I'll post it up here if you're interested. Quantity is entirely up to you, but I would be generous because between the oregano and the parsley, they will inherit a beautiful flavor. And I'll mix it all together once again. And I'll take my time to ensure that every piece of eggplant and zucchini is properly covered with all of my breadcrumbs mixed. And bearing in mind that there is egg in there and there is olive oil, they are perfect glue agents to ensure that everything sticks together. Olive oil, a generous amount at the bottom of a frying pan. And I'll turn the temperature on medium and I'll wait until the oil is hot enough so that my eggplant and my zucchini will cook immediately. And if you're not sure when it's ready, just get a piece of eggplant or zucchini, place it inside and taste it to see if it's sizzling. And it's not quite there yet, so another few more seconds. You can see that it's beginning to bubble up now, so my eggplant can go in. Very gently, one by one, I'll start adding my eggplants first. And the reason why I say gently is because I will place them in and I will not touch them, or to use a technical word, I will not be tinkering with them. The only time I'll touch them is when I need to turn them around. And this will allow the breadcrumbs to attach themselves to the surface of my eggplant and they'll become lovely and crispy. And that is another reason why your temperature needs to be medium. Actually, I'm turning down mine slightly as this is very powerful, so that you don't have to worry. So about 3 minutes and then they're ready to be turned around. The egg is a really important ingredient in this recipe. It has actually two functions. One is to ensure that breadcrumbs stick to your eggplant, but also it acts as a shield, protecting the eggplant and ensuring that they do not absorb an excessive amount of oil. So they actually, that does that really well, and you can see that 3 minutes in and I'm turning them around, and that you should be getting a beautiful golden surface like this. And also you can see that there is quite a lot of oil still in there. That is because they've not absorbed it. So it's working. 3 more minutes and then we can get them out. And some of them are ready. How will you know that? If you just go in with a fork and you pierce it, you will see that this one, for example, is going through just like butter. So I'm satisfied that this one can come out. So I'll pick it up, and I've got here a plate which I've lined up with a couple of pieces of kitchen paper to absorb any excess oil, and I can go in. Whereas actually, if I look at this one here, which is a bit chunkier, I was a bit generous with my knife. I can see that my fork is not going through properly, so I'll leave that in. But the thinner ones, they're all ready, so they can come out. Important, once again, that you collect the excess oil with some kitchen paper, and they will be a little bit healthier, of course. And these are ready. Do ensure that you stay on top of them, by the way, as they could burn easily, and if necessary, adjust the temperature downwards so that you keep them nice and golden in color. So these are done. I'll put them on one side and I'll start on the courgette or zucchini. And I'll follow exactly the same principle I did with the eggplants. I'll place them inside my pan, and you will find that your zucchini will not take as long, as they got a higher water content and they tend to cook quicker. So same again, but I will top up with a little bit more oil to ensure that I got a little bit of refreshed flavor, and I'll carry on. So I'll see you once these are ready. And I'm done, but before I continue, I will be applying another couple of pieces of kitchen paper on top of my first round of eggplants, and here they are. I'll start moving them on top one by one. By the way, I meant to say, with the zucchini, if you like, you can keep them a little bit crunchier. The eggplants need to be cooked throughout, otherwise they will be rubbery. But I find that I prefer my zucchini slightly al dente. Obviously there are individual choices, entirely up to you, but you can safely leave them slightly al dente and they'll be a little bit crunchier, and they're quite lovely. So this is nearly done. Perfect, and I'll finish the way I started. Another couple of pieces of kitchen paper. Everything obviously is still very hot. I'll gently press it, and I will leave them to rest for 10 minutes. They will cool down slightly, but also the paper will absorb the excess oil. So I'll see you in 10 minutes. And of course you can also do this in the oven. You do not have to fry them. A lot depends on personal taste, but also how naughty you feel on the day. Clearly in the oven they are a little bit healthier, and they will not absorb as much oil, but like this they will be releasing more flavor because they're fried, like all fried things. If you do them in the oven though, I would recommend that you put some baking paper at the bottom of an oven tray, put a little olive oil on top of the paper, then you apply your eggplant and zucchini, and then put a little oil also on top of them, and place them in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes at a temperature of 180 degrees if unassisted, or 200 if it's a normal conventional oven. And ensure, and you leave them, you don't need to turn them around, but do ensure, especially the eggplant, that they are cooked through, because depending on how thick you do them, they might need a little bit longer. You want them to be nice and crunchy, but also soft in the middle. So that's your healthier version. And as I mentioned, they are perfect also as a side dish, but this is the way I like to eat them. So a couple of slices of bread. This is farmhouse bread, nothing special. You can use any bread you like. Ciabatta, perfect for this sort of meal. So here we go. I'll get my eggplants, and I'll put a couple of them at the bottom like this. The leftover can go in the fridge, by the way, and they can stay there for 3-4 days. And actually you will find them, if you eat them like 10 minutes in, they will be still crunchy. In the fridge they'll go a little bit soggier, but the flavor will be slightly different, because when this sort of food cools down, it releases even more flavor. So let's tuck into this next. So I'll make a couple of sandwiches using my knife, one for me and one for Julie. I think that we all have some superpowers we are born with. Julie's superpower is to turn out when food is ready. It's amazing, literally. I've just finished and she's walked through.
I have been smelling it for the last 20 minutes or so.
Anyway, I'll just tuck in, and I'll let you know what it's like. It's heaven. The breadcrumbs are still crunchy, and everything is absolutely delicious, and it's warm, lukewarm. And it just reminds me of the sort of thing that my mum used to make for me when, as I said to you, I think in another video, when I was a little boy, sometimes we used to have leftover stuff like this. She would put inside a couple of slices of bread and take it to school, and it was delicious. And this actually floods memories back to that. I hope you make it. It's definitely worthwhile, even if it's your treat. Thank you for watching. See you later. Bye.